Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you guys had a good 4th of July. I hope you guys are enjoying the summer. I had fun shooting off fireworks and gonna go on a little mini vacation a couple weeks, so that's got me excited. I mean, my new job is going good too, so that's all good. It's always reassuring to switch jobs, especially after when you've been in the same job for so long, and switch to something else and it be stable and good. But we're not going to talk about that because no one cares about my social life. Nor am I willing to give that much information about myself over the internet. But we're going to talk about, in a nutshell, how we're going to go back to the Kyle situation. The Kyle situation, I've only made one video about it, and that was shortly after it happened, but I've been following it the entire time. It's almost a year now following it. And in a nutshell, if we allow him to become convicted, to be found guilty of all these ridiculous charges that they are pinning him on, then that shows how we have failed as a society. Now, you can say that about a lot of things that's happened, heck, how long back you want to go. You make a case back to the 60s whenever we started making mistakes when it comes to policies and legislature that led us down the road to where we are now. You can shorten it to the last couple of years if you want, but there are many events, many results that historians later point as the turning point in something, either good or bad. And I believe this Kyle thing is unique because if we allow children to not be able to defend themselves against violent felons and literally child molesters, if we don't allow them to defend themselves against them, then what does it say about our society? What does it say about just how pathetic our society is? If a society allows that, I mean, we already allow that to some degree with all of the child sex trafficking and child molestation going on in Hollywood, for example. Everyone knows about it, but no one does anything about it because the people who can do something about it won't. And the ordinary people like me and you who are disgusted by it can't do anything about it. So Hollywood's, because it has all the wealth and power, is just allowed to do this for decades now. But this is different than that. This is an ordinary kid who stepped up whenever his community needed him. They needed defense against violence, arsons, and felons who were stabbing people, burning buildings down, destroying whole car lots worth of things, which the mainstream media never talks about. So he was doing something heroic, something that I would not expect a 17-year-old to do. Although historically, 17-year-olds did fight in the military. Way back hundreds of years ago, they fought all the time in wars. So for a 17-year-old to do something like this in this day and age is kind of out of place, but historically it is in line with what we have been doing this entire time. And that's something that speaks of us as a society. If someone does something that historically humans have done for literally thousands of years, but only recently we stopped doing it, and people see that as immoral or wrong or something, then what does it say about this sudden change in society? That suddenly a kid and almost an adult stepping up to defend his community whenever the shopkeepers were saying, the police are not helping us. They're just standing by when these violent felons and murderers are going around killing people and destroying all our livelihoods. So Kyle and a bunch of other people exercised their Second Amendment rights and was defending this one store, and that's when it all went down last year. I don't want to live in a society where a child defending himself against violent felons and child molesters is viewed as wrong, is viewed as evil, is viewed as the bad guy in the situation. And the violent felons and child molesters are seen as the heroes and the victims in this situation. That's just fucking disgusting. And the fact that the media did that so much, like the media just fawned over these poor Antifa thugs that were shot by Kyle, like they were the victims, like they were the good guys. They were fighting for justice and Black Lives Matter and racial equality. It's like, no, they were stabbing people and burning buildings down to the ground and burning cars. And the mainstream media acts like that. None of that happened. They live in an alternate reality where these people are just minding their own businesses and just marching for racial equality, and the evil white supremacist Kyle Rittenhouse came out and just killed them. Like, that's seriously what millions upon millions of people believe. I shit you not. You can go back to my video last year of then candidate Joe Biden. Now he is former vice president because the election, of course, Susan Wiki was completely the fair selection that we've ever seen in the history of the fucking world. Of course, it was nothing else but that. Then candidate Joe Biden called Kyle Rittenhouse a white supremacist on Twitter. I'll pull up the tweet. I'll put it right here. I put it in the video I made last year. To this day, I have seen no fucking evidence whatsoever that Kyle Rittenhouse was a white supremacist. Are you fucking kidding me? Why do we allow someone running for president and now who occupies the Oval Office, but is not president? Why do we allow him to make such slanders against a child with no evidence, and the people on the left don't give a flaming shit? What does it say about their party? What does it say about our society? If ordinary people don't stand up to this bullshit and say, no, Joe, first go back to the nursing home. You need your Alzheimer's medication. First of all, you can't just call a child a white supremacist with no evidence whatsoever and think that he's the bad guy from defending himself against violent felons and child molesters. People act like, I mean, I know I've said that several times out the video already, but it's just like, the situation matters so much. I wouldn't defend Kyle if he was just walking around and people minding their business and he just shot 2 people. No, he was actively being attacked by these people and tried to get out of the situation peacefully every single time he could, and then only when he couldn't is when he used lethal action. That is the clearest case of self-defense. That is the perfect example of self-defense that you could teach in law school. It is literally flawlessly perfect. And yet still we have millions of these Democrat lunatics running around, running your business, being your manager, being your local politician, being your local scumbag, and generally making things worse for you, and then people just aren't pissed off about that for some fucking reason. Or, I'm not the only person pissed off about it, don't get me wrong. Odds are if you're watching this video, you're pissed off too, but we're only a small minority of people who are pissed off about this. The masses are waking up to this, but still, the vast majority of Americans are just minding their own business, walking around like zombies, doing their work, not knowing of all this crap happening around them. But I get off topic here. Can't go me on tangents here. We have millions of far-left Democrat lunatics thinking that Kyle Rittenhouse is a white supremacist who killed innocent people. And if we allow Kyle to be found guilty of these charges that he's being charged against, the only thing that would make sense was he was underage and had a rifle. But again, his attorney just said that their planned defense is that, for example, actually this happened a couple days ago, a violent loser broke into this woman's house and was attacking her, and her 12-year-old son grabbed a hunting rifle and killed him. Now, they're not going to charge the 12-year-old with possession of a firearm. Duh. Obviously, because it was self-defense and he only used it to defend his mother. They're going to use the same defense for Kyle. Now, whether it would work or not, because it's not exactly the same situation, is up to, I guess, the jurors. But that's the argument they're going with, is that Kyle only used the gun in self-defense. So he shouldn't be charged with having a rifle, just like the 12-year-old should not be charged with having a rifle because he just picked it up and shot the would-be assailant who was attacking his mom. They're trying to use the same logic in the courts. But that is kind of flimsy. But everything else, all of the other charges besides the possessing a firearm are bullshit fucking charges. So it's one thing when a society offers up a sacrificial lamb to appease the mob. And we did that with Chauvin, even though the defense said that the medical examiner said that Floyd died of an overdose of fentanyl and speedball, and Chauvin's knee on him did literally nothing to change the fact that he was going to die there anyway, because the minute he took all those drugs, he was dead. But the fact that we convicted Chauvin of multiple murder charges just to appease the mob, when the medical examiner said he literally didn't do it, that again speaks to us as what kind of society we are and how low we have stooped as to just ruin this man's life when he literally did nothing wrong. That's one thing, because he's an adult, it's kind of less tragic. It's still tragic as fuck, don't get me wrong. But to offer up a sacrificial child to appease the mob is a step down in the patheticness of our society, even more than offering up an adult. Like, neither is good, don't get me wrong. But to do that to a child just speaks so much to how far our society has degraded, how much of a joke our legal system has become, and the apathy of the vast majority of Americans has allowed all of this to happen. I never claimed to be the only American who sees things, the only American who's pissed off. I know there were millions of Americans pissed off. I talk to them every single day, in person or online, whatever. Like, I know there's a lot of people like me. We're all just scattered. We're not organized. We don't concentrate in one county. We're not in one state. The closest thing we would have to this would be Florida, because they have the Defend Your Castle law that allows you to use violence to defend your own property, and you are allowed to run over protesters or violent people in the streets if they attack you in your car or if they block your way. So that would be the closest bastion to freedom that I can think of, but again, with demographics, which is outside the scope of this video, it's only a matter of time before Florida becomes just like Virginia, because Virginia used to be like Florida too. Minus the awesome beaches, obviously, but its way of life, its people, and its laws were better for a society, people like you and me, and now it's turning into a democratic fucking shithole. So barring Florida, we're all just scattered all over the country, not organized, not close to each other. We can't do anything against this mass of just bullshit that is the radical Democrats and the Rhino Republicans. I'm not going to forget them, that just go along with all this crap and just are spineless cowards and spineless opposition who are just Democrats 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Wow, big, awesome opposition we have in this country. We have radical lunatics, and then those same radical lunatics as the opposition, but they're just 10 or 15 years behind the curve, and they're just as useless, they don't stand up to anything. Okay, cool, awesome. I love our society, and I love our government. Like, just seriously. So I guess that about wraps it up. How this Kyle thing is just a point in history of where our society will go. Will it continue down the snowball of degradation that it is, that we will allow a child's life to be ruined when all he did was defend himself against violent felons and child molesters? Or are we going to offer him up as a sacrificial lamb and just say, no, we're going to ruin his life, but it's okay because less people will be killed by these violent lunatic thugs that are in the millions that run around these cities and just destroy everything? Like, we're never going to put a foot down. I'm like, no. Kyle is not guilty of these charges. Let the mob come to us. We will fucking deal with them and show them that mob rule is not accepted in this country. We cannot allow the mob to rule. That is not what our founding principles were. That's not what this country is about. If you want mob rule, fucking go to China, for crying out loud. Go to any one of those socialist or fascist shitholes where people just, with the most amount of guns, most amount of people just make the rules for everyone and fuck anyone's rights or fuck any standards of anything. If that's what you want in America, there's only hundreds of other countries to fucking go to, but don't bring that crap here. We're different here.